And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, for our deciding game number 3. It's Rave taking on MVP.Hot6. After game 1, it looked like Rave might just run away with the series 2-0, but that was not the case. MVP.Hot6 bounced back in convincing fashion, and they have forced this deciding game 3. And, well, in an interesting development, Rave have banned both of the heroes that MVP picked in the first phase last time around.
Yeah, they say no shenanigans this time around. Cyber may have been ignored in game 1, but as soon as MVP.Hot6 find the formula that works, Rave are going to take it out of the picture. But it does open up the Skywrath Mage we saw banned out both game 1 and game 2. Not by any means like a must-ban hero or even like a top pick in a lot of scenes, but it seems to be a pick that Hot6 are very comfortable with. And the synergy between this hero and the Clockwork is very obvious with the Cogs and the Mystic Flare, and that's something that Hot6 are going to be looking to use as part of their firepower in the mid-game. And that seems to me where you give this team a lineup which is really dominant in the mid-game, can take lots of fights. That seems to be where they shine.
Yeah, it definitely does. That early to mid-game aggression, Rave in general do make pretty good decisions as the game goes later. They obviously made some mistakes last game. I think Jo dying top, where he could have just walked away from the axe, is a good example of that. But in general, they don't make a whole lot. And so for MVP, if they can snowball this one, that would be great. And well, speaking of snowball, they're going to go for this Clockwork Skywrath Mage. The last 2 games, we saw a first phase ban on the Skywrath, as well as the Venge, I believe. But this time around, the Skywrath going to slip through, and MVP happy to snap it up. They go for the hookshot Mystic Flare combination. A lot of good pickoff potential with these two.
Yeah. So Rave have a combo that Vici Gaming used to do quite a bit. The Venge Tide opener. Venge helps the Tide clear out the Ancients with the minus armor, the Wave of Terror, assuming Tide can get some good Ancient sacks going. And that's something Hot6 will have to be wary of. And also, I'd say around that kind of 12 to 15 minute mark where Tide goes for it, they want to contest it. If they can have clock level 6 by that stage, it's quite possible to do so. They want to get that high ground ward above the Roshan pit so they can scout it out. So that's probably going to be, it's kind of like almost as important as contesting a Roshan later in the game, is contesting that first Ancient stack if possible, because it's a huge amount of farm going out one team's way. So we'll see how the teams look to handle things around that. For now, second band's coming out. Enigma Jug banned out by Raven, the Medusa, the third band for Hot6.
Yeah, we'll see what this fourth ban is going to be. This is kind of reminiscent of the bans for them of that Game 1 draft, where yeah, the Storm and Medusa both get banned out. One in the first stage, one in the second. And so we'll have to see what Rave go for when they have to dig a little bit deeper here. Look at some of their recent matches. We've seen the Shadow Fiend. We saw that one last game. Didn't end up working out. They have run Luna on occasion. The Anti-Mage from Jo in Game 1 came out. This time around, against the Clockwork Skywrath, it could work. There's not really like hard counters for an Anti-Mage as of yet.
Yeah, I agree there. I think the Anti-Mage, something you probably look more towards the 4th, 5th pick with, but so far this game doesn't say anything about, oh, you don't want to go Anti-Mage. They do have the Venge though, so the minus armor is there, and that's where they could go into some kind of a Drow Ranger strategy. They maybe look to get a secondary carry to go with the Venge. I was thinking the Shadow Fiend, but it's Hot6 who grabbed the Shadow Fiend first, and they're going to be running that as their mid-hero, so see what Rave look to get to go with that. Something like a Puck Drow could be very strong. The Drow giving everyone the aura, the Puck with the bonus damage can just do a lot better in the mid lane.
The other big hero is the Troll. They do run their Troll a lot. We saw it in the safe lane last game without a whole lot of support. Also one of the few heroes that matches up well against Shadow Fiend. If not a Troll, maybe it's a Lina. Maybe they even do both. But if they're not going to go for either of those, then they may struggle to shut the Shadow Fiend down early.
So they still need their mid lane and looking for a safe lane. They like you said, they love their Troll for the safe lane. For the mid lane, it's been the Puck, the Shadow Fiend is their 2 big ones, and we'll see also a secondary support also still needed for the team with the Chen still available if they want to go for the Chen with the Vengeful Spirit. But that was something where that got a bit exploited by Hot6. They ran their dual lanes. They punished the fact that there was a jungling support who couldn't really offer too much, and the Chen didn't even get much farm out of the jungle. Didn't really make up for it like some junglers do. So for now, a TA picked by Rave.
Forgotten hero, I want to say. We have not seen much TA lately. I believe Wagamama did recently release his guide to TA, so maybe Rave inspired by that. Probably not, but
picked very much as like a laning counter to the SF. But
yeah,
as far as mid game goes, Skywrath ulti great at just taking off a refractory. If you want to go on a TA and burst her down, you can definitely do so. But also you have that Roshan potential of a dire side TA.
Yeah, the Chen will come out, as you mentioned it might, so the mid-game for MVP looking especially strong now. And I wouldn't say they have an amazing lineup to deal with the TA head-on, but when you start grouping up for these pushes, if JO has to come to fights, that's where... Or I suppose, is it maybe Ryo who plays this, or is it... I think it's normally JO.
On the TA? I'm not sure. It could even be a Chrissy here.
Now I'm second-guessing myself, because they switched their roles between games 1 and 2. So.
Yeah. JO went mid with the Shadow Fiend pickup. That's true. So I feel like this is more likely Rio or Chrissy with JO playing like a safe lane, because Templar's going to be picked up in more of like a 2-carry lineup, so JO can still play a safe lane carry. I guess he didn't play the Troll last game, which was where things were quite different.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they want to do. Rave go for the Witch Doctor now. They get a great support against the Chen. And another strong team fighting support. But we'll have to see if they can withstand the onslaught that MVP will be looking to bring to bear in this early to mid-game.
If anything, I feel like MVP.Hot6, they could get a lot of benefit out of like a Troll here. The Troll Jug type carries suit 4 quite well. It fits in nicely to a 5-man push line. The Jug banned out, as I just noticed, but the Troll could still do quite well. Otherwise, some kind of a tempo controller, like the Slada, the Slark, these kinds of good mid-game carries. You get a blink on a Slada, you take lots of good fights. Slark, kind of a similar concept, but maybe a bit more kind of farm-oriented and a bit more late-game potential. With the Shadow Fiend, I think they could go for that minus armor, an initiator in something like a Slada if they wanted to. Either that, or you go for like a Centaur. Do have to keep into consideration that if you're going on a TA, refraction's likely up, so you don't normally want a Slada to be the one to initiate on the TA, since you're going to block all of that initial damage.
Yeah, they really only have the Mystic Flare to remove it right now. Maybe they even try to find a hero that can help assist with that. I'm not sure who that would be that also fits into their draft right now. Like you said, I think a safe lane core that actually scales pretty well with farm should be the choice. So outside of that, I mean, I suppose they could switch it up and not put the SF mid, but that obviously takes away a lot of the hero's strength in the laning stage.
Go back to the safe lane Venomancer if they want to give that another go. I don't think it worked out well enough for them in game 1 to
There's
have
also
another
like
try.
an Ember Spirit as well, though. He can struggle a bit if he goes mid versus the TA, but maybe they throw him in the safe lane even. That's another possibility. There's not really great lockdown for a hero like Ember.
I think likely they will keep the SF mid. It's just, especially on the Radiant side, such a natural fit for SF as far as being able to fall back to the jungle a bit. And you can... Chen's just going to cross his fingers and hope for a Wild Wing. If you get a Wild Wing, SF, I would say, wins the lane against TA with just that one tornado in the first 2 to 3 minutes of the game, and suddenly it's an easy lane for SF. He gets his last hits, he gets his bottle up, he then can just raise creep waves, and TA can't actually win the lane because of the Chen. And even without a Wild Wing, like there's some other creeps you can have just to help out the mid lane as well.
It could also be Slark. I feel like Slark or Ember could be the choice here for Hot6.
Slark, a good option with Dark Pack to get rid of that. They're going to go Troll, though, so it's much more kind of 5-man oriented with the push. You get the Battle Trance to go with the Shadow Fiend as well as the Troll himself. And
yeah, the blind is also still good against TA. Even if she has refraction, she's all physical damage, and she's gonna be messing a lot up against him. So I still think the Troll is a very solid pick. It's a very different strategy to last game though, where it was all about these ganks and constant pressure all over the map. This time they have one hero to set up the ganks, and he's got a long cooldown ultimate, the Clockwork, so you're not going to be seeing that Axe and Sven just bash broing around the map, constantly setting up kills.
So Anti-Mage probably taken out of the picture with the physical damage of the Trolls, Shadow Fiend, and also just the threat of the early push coming out, and Rave. A Medusa type carry, which is banned itself, so there aren't really any other Medusas in the pool, but Ember Spirit, you talk about as a potential safe laner. It looks like that's going to be Rave who actually picked that one up as their safe laner. And going to be that kind of a tempo controller, because I think the TA kind of struggles. Like, you're going to be at this stage where your Tide doesn't have a blink at 10 minutes in. Your TA is not really an initiating the fighter. And you need a hero to maybe actually take fights if you want to defend your towers. And Ember Spirit is going to be the one to do so.
Yeah, I do worry here for Rave if MVP.Hot6 reach critical mass, though. Because their deep push is Ravage, Wave of Terror, and I guess Sleight of Fist. But, I mean, if you don't have a Battle Fury or maybe a Maelstrom, you're not stopping that push. So
yeah.
I feel like if Rave don't find those early to mid-game kills and get some momentum, that Hot6 should be able to just 5-man them to death. We'll see if they find those openings, gods. We get underway now with Game 3. This is our decider. Loser not eliminated, but drops down to the lower bracket. Winner moves along into your winner bracket semifinals. With that said, we start with MVP.Hot6. They've got Forev on the Troll Warlord, Dubu playing your Skywrath Mage, Lost handling the Shadow Fiend. It will be Baton taking up the Clockwork, and at least Heen on the Chen. As for Rave, you've got Ryo's Tidehunter, Jo on the Ember Spirit, Cast, the Captain, going to be playing this Witch Doctor, Ninja Boogie, the Venge, and Chrissy will be the one to handle the TA. That's right, I seem to remember him playing TA at DAC.
As is natural against the Chen, you want to try and take away some of his jungle camps, at least block pull camps, so that your offlane can get a bit out of the lane, and it's going to be Rave making a full 5-man sweep into the enemy jungle. MVP.Hot6 not looking to take a fight. SF has leveled up Raze, though, so he does have at least that level 1 nuke, but looks like multiple Chen camps, or just the one big camp being blocked out for now. And that's going to be at least slightly bothersome for the Chen. It means he has to take the far left big camp, which is a camp that you sometimes want to stack for the Shadow Fiend, or at least leave for him to be able to take.
Yeah, as far as sentries go, they do have some coming out in the courier now, so if he's lucky or smart with his D-boards, whatever the case may be, maybe he could get those camps ready to go off the bat. We'll have a little skirmish here for the bottom rune. Rave sending their supports there for now, but I imagine it'll just be Ryo left on an island. And in fact, that is the case. They're going to rotate back towards mid, maybe even back towards top. They already have a smoke picked up, and I wonder if we even see them go for some early aggression here.
Yeah, so Rave get the double rune, and also the block mid lane is not going to be too bad for Chris, even though we got the rune, because Ninja Boogie was there to help out. It looks like, though, MP on that SF is actually going to... Wow, he actually crushes the block there. So that's going to help him out a bit to make up for that bounty rune advantage, but... and he is rushing a bottle here, so he'll just look to get the bottle as fast as possible with the raises, not be too worried about his souls, more focused on his farm and levels early on.
Uh-oh. Well, he gets enough. He's got the three creeps and only the one tonight.
So early sentry from Ninja Boogie, just trying to de-ward around the high ground here, and doesn't find anything, and he's courier sniping. He knows SF just got 3 less hits. He's rushing bottle. Oh, this would be huge if he gets this courier.
It's hugging the southern ridge. There are no boots on the Vengeful Spirit, but just gets in range for the second auto attack, and mid lane over.
Even with this tornado, that is not going to matter. That is not going to save this lane. Chrissy has his bottle up. He can regen off of this, and SF just the one soul. He's got 1 raise at his disposal, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean maybe the Chen looks to send him back at some point, but. I mean, outside of that, I don't really know what you do here. You lose your lane. That's pretty much what you do.
He's just going to have to tough it out, leech as much XP as he can, and try get some last hits. So Tornado will help things a bit. Chrissy going to be forced to bottle Crow, it looks like. The one nice thing is you can still bottle through the Tornado damage, so he's still getting that HP mana regen. And he's still... I mean, Chrissy is just going to dominate this lane, at least for the first 4 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's already a fairly tough lane for the Shadow Fiend once that TA hits 6, and this is not going to help matters at all. Dubu, as well as Ryo, duking it out in the river. We'll see a little bit of anchor smash coming out. We'll swing that one around, smacking him and poking him with it, but Skywrath, one of the best supports to just shut down that Tidehunter offlane, zoning him out, and he is chewing through his regen. 3 tangos down, very low on HP. He's going to have to salve soon, and he may even die here with the slow axis coming out. They do have a concussive shot. Now he just got the experience, Ryo. Does have the salve, and 7 stick charges will pop the stick. Can't commit to that one.
That wouldn't have done that. He could have salved if he was too low and just got that salve regen before the arcane bolt hits, but still good zoning coming out from Dubu, and importantly prevents the Tide from... Like, he grows up on the high ground as the rune's about to spawn, knowing that the kind of typical Tide play is you stack your Ancients as you check the 2-minute runes. So he knows what Tide's doing. He goes to the high ground. Even though Tide ends up fighting the Skywrath and getting the bounty rune, he doesn't let Tide stack the Ancients that first time. He won't be contesting this stack, though. It's always around the rune spawn where the Skywrath will kind of try and prevent at least some stacks from happening.
Well, they're trying to zone Lost out here a bit, but he's actually doing all right. Uh-oh. He had vision of him, but NB going to get the jump on him, it looks like, in the end, and MP may end up going down here, jukes through the trees. He doesn't even have the boots, and he still just walks away. All right. Playing with fire here as he steps back towards Ninja Boogie, but
yeah,
should end up
I think Chrissy had it, but pathing issues. Maybe need to send that replay into Valve. I don't know what
they just
happened.
patched, right? Or did they not drop that patch yet?
I'm not sure.
I
don't know.
They made the patch blog, or the pathing blog, I should say. So
Lotus saving Dota 2 pathing, but we'll see. I may have just been a misclick or something. Maybe even decide, oh, I'm going to back off. We're not going to get this kill, but SF without boots at that time could have definitely chased him down. Chrissy would have taken a bit of damage. Could have been always a potential for a counter kill as well. If Chen is sitting there with like an ensnare or a hellback smash, so...
For Rev, he might even commit to this one. He could potentially get 2 kills if Ryo's not careful. Tries to worm his way through the tree line. For Rev looking to isolate him. He'll throw out the whirling axis just short, but now that's the slow axis soon, and with that may get the kill. Concussive shot coming in. Reinforcements have arrived, and your first blood will go the way of Forev. In the meantime, they run down Cast a bit. Can't finish him off, and looks like there's no action elsewhere. Well, GoDz, the mid lane, it was a struggle for Lost, but he has survived it without any deaths. Maybe a bit more lucky than good there, but he survives nonetheless. There is a stack waiting for him, but it looks like Chen's going to be the one to take it, so... make that no stacks waiting for him.
And this is all you can do as an SF. Like, when you get your bottle snipe like that, it's just play safe, hope for the best. You're going to get Outlast hit here, but he gets his bottle boots, and now suddenly he just gets like 5 CS. He was down like 24 CS to 11, but he's up to 17 now. TA's going to stay ahead, and yeah, he doesn't have stacks now, but Chen's going to farm this stack, get like a fast level 5 probably, and then SF can at least take like the medium camp and the big camp. He won't have the big stacks he'd like, but he still has those jungle camps available to him.
This is the danger zone. Once that TA hits 6, you gotta be careful. If she gets 2 traps out on you and you don't have backup, and actually is sitting out of TP, so smart play here by Lost. With that, actually, he shouldn't really die unless these supports rotate in. Just have to be quick on the trigger, but an invis rune popped by Chrissy, along with the smoke coming out from Ninja Boogie. The double traps are there. If he walks towards this hill, could be in trouble. And they're in position. They want to go for the stun, but he's ready for it. MP jukes back. They still get the stun. Oh, man, he drops fast to that before the Chen could even react.
Nice little gank. That's a hard to avoid for your Shadow Fiend. Unless he picked up the Belt of Giant Strength. Actually, I don't know if he had it on him. I think that was maybe back at base after he died.
Yeah, I think so, too.
If he had that, it maybe saves like top lane. Meanwhile, Jao going in for kill on Baton, but unable to get this. Baton, by the way, he's been just quietly leeching XP in this offlane. Has level 6, and this is where Hot6 have a lot of like kind of comeback options here. Baton can start now roaming around the map. He can look to help out the mid lane, go for at least some support for the Shadow Fiend, try and punish some of these dives. He needs to be ready to assist with Chrissy's aggression.
I mean, compared to Ryo, he's level 3 in the offlane. He is not getting much. And this is the power of the Skywrath Mage support as much as anything else, I'd say. He started with 8 tangos, he started with the salve, it's all gone. He is going to get his level 4, and ultimately Tide can look to catch up with the stacks. But this will be the Clockwork's window now as he TPs back top, maybe even tries to set up a kill here. Jao has no mana, and there's that Radiant Observer Ward. It just got a glimpse of Jao moving back, and it looks like Baton is going to try to catch him on the retreat, but now he's got the bottle. Now he's got a little bit of mana, and now he's not an easy kill. He's going to try for it, though, with the hook shot. Jao could Remnant back and just jump away, and that's exactly what he'll do.
Smart from Jao. If he pops the Flame Guard there, he doesn't have mana for Fire Remnant out, so he's going to even TP home, it looks like, just to refill his bottle and keep safe in this lane. And yeah, he's TP's home, leaves the Fire Remnant. Bottom lane, a bit of a push coming out here. They tried to get aggressive on Rhea, but unable to do so. He's been stacking these Ancients continuously, but that's one of those things talked about a bit during the draft. MVP.Hot6, if they keep track of this Tide's level, around when he hits level 7, they need to get that ward that scouts out the Ancients and contest it, because that's going to be a big comeback potential.
Called out top lane. Those delicious levels might be going back the other way.
Yikes.
They will. He hits the fast level 6, and now he's going to give a lot of that experience right back. Suddenly, your Ember Spirit tied for highest level in the game.
Tier 1 tower possibly being traded at bottom lane. As Forev just kind of going past the creep wave. Chen Troll, like you've got your... you've got your Bassering Aura, you've got your Chen creeps. This is a push that Tide is just not equipped to deal with. And, well, we'll see Rave kind of just have to give that one up here. Especially with a mid laner like a TA who doesn't really rotate that well to defend towers.
Even though Rave have had this... what looks like a really nice start in terms of slowing down the Shadow Fiend, you still look at the mid-game for MVP.Hot6, and it's pretty easy to execute, to be honest. You basically just walk up to a tower, pop Troll ulti, start hitting the building with creeps, and it's Rave who are going to have a hard time walking into that. Until Tide gets a blink. I mean, how do you... maybe your Ember can initiate, but you're initiating into what looks like a fast mech keen already up to 1,300 gold, and into a Shadow Fiend with the defensive Requiem, and as well as that Battle Trance just to right-click everyone down. So even though they've had a bit of a rough start in certain aspects of the game, it's still the kind of lineup that can just A-click towards your base and try to deathball their way towards victory.
We'll see what Jo can do. I feel like he wants to fight sooner rather than later. At this point, it's one of those things where Ember is a good tempo controller, is great in like the mid game, but not so great against like 5-man lineups if they have control. There's a Skywrath Silence to maybe prevent some of his escapes and spells, and once the Chen mech is up, I feel like that's the point where Jo is going to struggle to actually fight in the mid game. So I think he maybe is going to look to come to some fights and tower defenses before the Chen mech is online, as well as the SF Yules. These items is when the MVP.Hot6 5-man just takes objectives with these, kind of like
Hasted Baton jumps in bottom and he pulls the Tidehunter into the cogs by his lonesome. This should be a takedown here with the axes coming out. They get the Tide, nowhere safe but meanwhile mid. On to Heen they go, the Raze is flying out from MP, but oh no, now Chrissy's onto him. The troll trap's already been used, it looks like nothing to save him. Chrissy continues the chase, the last Raze, not good enough, he gets that double kill, makes it out. A 2-for-1, but maybe a tower as well. Gonna go down here for MVP.Hot6.
They're trying to get the top tier 1 tower on his side of the map, and we'll see Hot6 TP down. Tide TPing in first to defend this one. Not level 6 just yet, but
they don't see cast TPing in, but yeah, that's gonna be it. So no more chance of catching these heroes.
Chrissy's very big now. He has the Phase, the Yasha. This Ember TA duo, not really known for being able to fight into 5-man Dota, but you give them enough farm and enough momentum, they can take down some of the squishy backliners like the supports in no time at all. And even heroes in the front lines like a Troll, if Clockwork hooks in like he does bottom lane, kind of by himself onto a Tide, if TA or Ember's there ready for him, they'll burst down the Clockwork in no time at all. So the fact that both the two cores have as much farm as they do still gives Rave some options as far as defending towers.
This will help as well. When Dubu's playing this aggressive, he's going to get wrapped around upon by Ninja Boogie now. Cogs actually going to just help block his own retreat. Blocking cast off as Dubu will work into the trees. They don't have Ravage. He'll end up going down anyway to that Anchor Smash. But yeah, without the Mystic Flare as well, the hook shot is not like a guaranteed kill. They really need this Skywrath level 6, which looks like it's coming pretty soon.
So the Ancient stack is going to continue here. Tide, maybe even going to come take it now. He's not got much mana, has just hit level 6, but actually missing that last stack here. But they know it's not warded, which is the big thing here. Mid lane.
Cask bouncing mid. It's going to bounce back to MP. He gets wrecked. Heed will as well. Rave just hitting their timings beautifully now. Right before the Chen has his completed mech. Right before they're ready to start 5-manning. Well, they're just racking up the kills.
TA and Ember Spirit, great at fighting into like 2 to 3-man units. Like if it's not 5-man, you are just golden at this stage. Just Phase, Bracer 1, like this is all Ember needs. He may not even go for the drums this game. He may say, okay, I can fight right now without the drums, and then I can build towards the Battle Fury so I get my Battle Fury faster and have an answer to the 5-man when it comes. So he could still get like a 15-minute Battle Fury at this rate with how things are going. Alternatively, he can pick up the drums and do a lot with that. So MVP.Hot6 has to be very careful about how many kills they're giving up right now, and also the fact that Tide is going to get a decent time blink or mech for himself if he gets this Ancient stack, which is being constantly rocket flared, but Rave know it's not water. They put that Sentry Ward on the high ground here, so they're going to look to take this probably fairly soon with Tidehunter.
Yeah, this Clockwork slowly helping them farm these Ancients, perhaps, as the rockets fly out.
Yeah, take out some of those little black dregs, but
it's going to take a while.
They go for Roche, I think, or they're just smoking for kills.
Oh no, rocket flies over the top, now down into the river, jumps your Ember with a Venge stun. Yeah, he's done. Nicely done.
Once the hasted Clockwork being brought down, I think they had a good idea that MVP.Hot6 with this Rocket Flare spam and Ancients were going to come and contest it, so they said, let's smoke and protect it. Let's go find a kill which will secure us Ancients, and wow, they're even going for... This is almost too greedy, I wonder.
That might be...
You take one or the other. You either secure your Ancients or you take Roshan, and I think Ancients first and then Roche later. Like, end of the day, you're getting Tide of Blink Dagger, and with Blink on Tide, then you have a pretty safe way of securing a Roshan.
Yeah, I think they just got excited when they saw that Clockwork's down, and well, this could be the item that turns things around. MP gonna pick up his Yule Scepter. With this, they have a secondary way to get these solo kill, or these pickoffs, I should say. You've got your hook shot into Mystic Flare, and now the Yule Scepter into Spirit Bomb. But someone like the Ember Spirit gonna be a much tougher kill when his Flame Guard's off. Oh gods, they're not exactly crushing this game. It's currently only a 1,500 gold lead for Rave, but I feel like it's a 4,000 experience lead. Pretty substantial there, but it's more just... They haven't achieved that 5-man yet, and by the time they do, Tidehunter already has his Blink, Witch Doctor has his ulti, TA has her Blink and Yasha, and the Ember Spirit did not opt for the Battle Fury, but has drums complete and 1,400 gold in the bank.
Yeah.
So you're pushing into maybe not the best 5-man defense, but a very farmed 5-man defense.
It feels like Plan A for MVP is not going to work. They can fall back on the late game potential of a Shadow Fiend Troll. These two heroes definitely will scale well on the Rave side. TA as a late gamer pretty solid. Ember Spirit not bad, but you've got heroes like Chen, Skywrath, who aren't going to do as well. The Skywrath will get canned by BKBs. The Chen is just going to fall off in general. So they do want to at least get a bit of an edge now in the early run to get themselves some gold, some towers, and map control, and then look to fall back on their late game potential.
Forever gets swapped into the Venge stun. Ninja Boogie, some sexy moves there. As that Venge will bring down the troll, and that is their most farmed hero.
He was going to get out of sentry range and disjoint that stun if not for the swap. That was actually
well played.
Really nice play.
They still have Ravage. They've got all their other... Well, actually, Death Ward was used, so... Not all their other big spells, but they've got some. Chen's going to pop his Buckler. This Roche is low. I feel like they can't just afford to give it up, but they're going in 4v5. No troll buyback. Hadouken's coming out. Now the hook shot going in onto cast. Well-placed cogs keep the Tidehunter out of the fray as the Roche drops low. Mystic Flare will get that Witch Doctor, but now the Aegis claim. It's going to be a 1-for-1 here as Baton will go down. And with the troll death earlier, make it a 2-for-1. Plus an Aegis, all going Rave's way. Just getting the upper hand a little bit at a time, but it's starting to accumulate now.
And all of Rave's cores are just like doing their job right now. Everything for Rave is going how the plan in the draft was meant to go. The TA winning the mid lane as the kind of the SF counter. He's itemized such that he can fight now. Ember Spirit also getting the 1 kill in lane and getting to a point where he can help control the mid game. And Tide was never meant to do well against the Skywrath mage, but it's got to a point where he caught up on farm by the Ancients, has a Blink Dagger, and now Rave are actually the ones who are going to 5-man. They haven't got the 5-man lineup, but with an Aegis, with a Tide Blink Ravage, all of a sudden, the fact they have this big farm advantage allows them to take objectives if they want to do so.
They're trying to split push here as MP makes his way up top. He has an Ogre Club, no teleport scroll though, so does need to be careful about how much he commits to this. But it looks like, as you said, they don't want a 5-man. They want to slow the game down, wait out this Aegis, and just pray to the gods, basically. Because it does feel right now like Rave, 1 or 2 good fights, and they could have MVP bottled up into their base and with no map control to speak of. And they're trying to find that, maybe not killing blow, but penultimate killing blow as they make their way through this Radiant jungle now.
Forev not going to get caught out. Doesn't look like they'll find too much. Good Radiant vision, like around the mid and bottom lane, kind of around their own jungle to try and protect it. And looks like we may see Rave try and take the bottom tier 1 tower while defending top lane. And Jo can leave a fire in the bottom, so he can defend top and then get back to bottom should Hot6 look to mount a defense in this bottom tier 1 tower. But that just feels like a lost cause at this point. Even with the tower still being full HP, Rave just have a numbers advantage, and there's not good enough vision inside the Radiant jungle itself. Even if you know Rave are in your jungle, you don't know exactly where, and you can't get a good jump on them.
Rocket scouting, but it won't find Jo, who's lurking a bit more to the west in the tree line.
Keeping into tier 2s here.
They want to fight this one. Spirit's coming out. Jo gets off the side of Fist. Shadow Fiend, having used his Yule Scepter, needs to just walk out. The Rocket gonna cancel the Tide Blink, but he's still zoning in. Requiem does go off. It goes off on a few, then they hook the Tide. He does manage to get that Ravage off. Mystic Flare coming in. Ninja Boogie actually might get 2 people killed as he swaps his buddy out, but the Tide ends up falling. Now a great Death Ward, bringing 4F low, forcing Baton back and lost. Oh no, he'll go down. They're even dodging out of that raise. Not that it would have mattered. Just swagging. They'll get 2. They want it to be a 3rd here. They'll bring down the Clockwork, the Chen, and Skywrath. The last 2 heroes you want to be living through that one are the lone 2 survivors.
Wasn't the dream fight for Rave, but they got the job done. They killed all 3 MVP.Hot6 core heroes. They lose a Tide, they lose a Venge, and even with the Ravage and the kind of execution on the swap out on the Tide not going to perfection, it was still good enough. They've got this big item advantage. The TA and Ember Spirit are just too far ahead, it feels like. Bit of a trade mid lane. Hot6 with the Chen creeps do get a tier 2 tower, but that's not a game changer by any means. Rave are losing a lot of towers at both mid and bottom lane. Like later on in the game, if they're trying to secure Roshan, trying to protect their Ancients, it gets a lot harder, but having the T1 and T2 top means that the Dire jungle is still pretty safe to farm for Rave because they have those towers to kind of look to defend it with should someone need to TP in.
What do you think the plan is now for MVP.Hot6? They still have a couple... Uh-oh. Hold that thought. Lost. Gonna get caught up bottom? He'll be okay. What's your game plan now if you're MVP.Hot6? You're down by about 4k gold, 8k experience, but more importantly, it just feels like they have no map control, no momentum, and just can't seem to find any kills.
I think short term you want to try and wait out the Aegis. You don't want to fight into the Aegis TA, who's going to almost one-shot a Skywrath Mage. Nice cogs there coming out from the Clockwork. After the Aegis expires, I think you look to pick up a gem and get back some of the map control that you talk about that they're lacking here. If they can deny a lot of vision here, whoa! Nice sleight of fist. They catch up the SF bottom lane. TA completes a Death Slayer. That's a tier 1 tower on top of that. But
oh my god.
As far as, yeah, back on the topic of what Hot6 can do, get a gem, get some map control back your way. Yeah, you're behind, but you need to deny vision from Rave and then find pickoffs using your vision advantage. They've got rocket flares to scout. They've got, in theory, like a gem at that point to give them some vision, and then use the Clockwork plus Skywrath combo to find kills. And by that point, when the Aegis expires, they should have the SF BKB, which is going to be a key item as well for them.
Yeah, Rave do have that swap to at least slow down the Requiem and maybe pull him into this TA with a Deso who's going to quickly make mincemeat of him if that does happen. Also, nice with the Deso, it synergizes really well with Ember Spirit as well as Tide. Actually, their whole team, if you think about it. Everybody's got either minus armor or heavy physical damage, so the more minus armor you stack up here, the better and better these quick kills are going to look for Rave. I actually like this pickup a lot from Chrissy.
This is great. This is going to help him snowball. He does have to be careful not to ever overextend, especially without a BKB. The Aegis is expired, so Rave will not be looking for Chris to go on solo kill missions unless he's sure that the hero is alone or that he's going to get a quick pick off and get out. But if he's 5-manning, he has the swap save, he has the Tide with a Blink Ravage to back him up, and generally speaking, will be pretty safe. I like this from Hot6. It's split push, it's Rat Dota. They're keeping the Chen creeps in one lane, always counter pushing on the other side of the map. And then if Brave go to defend, they just recall them, and we'll see that here. Maybe you lose one or something, and doesn't even lose the one there. And then hey, if now Brave push the top lane, go for that tier 2 top tower, suddenly this Chen creep army is going to be pushing bottom lane. So this is just going to be continuous kind of Rat Dota out of the Chen creep army.
Yeah, Hayden is starting to pack on the gold. He's the third most farmed hero on his team.
That's a worry, though. You don't want...
Yeah.
Like, what's the farm Chen going to do for you? You get an Ag Scepter and you get the big Granite Golem for some bonus HP. That's kind of nice. It does help your team fight a bit, but end of the day, this is farm you'd rather have in the SF or the Troll's hands. Even the Clockwork with a Blade Mail could do a bit more.
It's just like, how's the clock going to get farmed at this point, you know?
You give farm to the heroes who can actually get the farm safely, and right now that's, unfortunately, the Chen.
The Chen, maybe the Troll, and the Shadow Fiend to some extent, but yeah, even then, with no Blink Dagger, MP's got to be very cautious. Uh-oh, Forev. Lucky that those chains didn't connect her. He may have gotten jumped. 5 Rave heroes waiting mid. They're ready to pounce, they're ready to push, and it looks like the go call will be made. They're going to group up mid, and as they cluster, they wait for this next creep wave to muscle their way in.
And Jao can play super aggressive as well now. With the Manta style means he can get out of the Skywrath Mage silence and just be a lot more potent in the front line. So let's be a bit careful. We'll have some mana issues with the high mana cost of the Manta style, of the fire running out, and also if he gets hit by a Cogs especially, that's going to bother him. But just level 1 Cogs. The hero levels right now, another big issue for MVP.Hot6. Level 9 Clockwork, Chen, level 8 Skywrath. They just don't have the level growth on a lot of these heroes that they need.
Absolutely. Well, Rave continuing to apply map pressure. We saw this in Game 1. They got their lead, and then they dropped down these nice wards on the hill. We saw this ward last time around, but it's the southern hill they go for. Even if they're not actually going for kills, they're just keeping the map control their way and making sure they know where they can farm safely so they can squeeze MVP.Hot6 as much as possible elsewhere on the map. And you wanted a gem from MVP gods, but it's actually Cast who's going to grab it first for Rave.
The other big reason the MVP need a gem is all these TA traps. It's not just the wards here. They've got TA traps. Yeah, they don't give much area of effect vision, but it's you walk over them and suddenly it's you know where that hero is and which direction they're headed. It's like you see a hero go across the trap of a lane, you know they're going to the Radiant jungle, could set a pick off, or at least give you that information that top lane is a good place to pressure.
J.O. That Manta coming in handy here. He'll get silence and then immediately Manta just back on out of there. In the meantime, the troll ulti used as they just want to split push a little bit quicker. Rockets flying out. Chrissy is on the hunt, though, and he may walk into Baton. They have the hill ward. The clockwork's like almost not even worth his while. Chrissy just doesn't even want to take that slight chance he dies to go for what's become the 4-position hero for MVP.
Well, Chrissy now the BKB, so talked about him not being too aggressive earlier on, but the BKB, he can take much riskier fights and be that blink initiator here. 4-Rev, oh boy. Yeah. Doesn't actually go for the kill, but...
A little dangerous against the blind, and especially walking high ground against that clockwork Mystic Flare combination.
That's probably an impossible to get kill there, but... Hey, they'll swing top, they'll go for the tier 2 tower, and then probably after that, fall back, farm the jungle, Roshan respawning in a minute's time, and for Rave, this is very much objective Dota right now. They're trying to take as many objectives as they can while giving MVP as little as possible. So they'll constantly have to deal with the split push, which has been really solid. MVP, like, as far as their team's concerned, like, they're playing from behind, but they're doing as much as they can right here. Apart from, I think, maybe getting a gem, which could help them out, but they don't even have really a good gem carrier. Like, you put it on a Skywrath or a Chen, like, these heroes aren't really moving out of the map with their heroes, so there's no one really good to actually de-ward as much as they kind of need a gem for these TA traps.
Ryo is the man in the front lines here. I suppose you should say the watermelon in the front lines. He shows his face. What is this hat? Oh, it's the pirate hat. For some reason, I thought it looked like a cowboy hat there for a second. Gonna complain about my immersion, but
pirates is okay, but not cowboys.
Yeah,
I guess he's a seafarer, but
exactly, it's
so he basically
thematically fitting.
So basically, a pirate sailing at sea ran into Tidehunter, and he took the pirate hat.
I guess maybe he just crafted himself one. Or are you saying he's not capable of making his own pirate hat?
Well, if he's capable of making a pirate hat, he should be capable of making a cowboy hat.
But he's never seen a cowboy. I don't think Tidehunter even knows what a cowboy is.
Okay, so he's ran into pirates, but not cowboys.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, I guess.
He's a lumbering sea creature, a leviathan, if you will.
But do humans even exist in the Dota 2 lore?
Humanoids.
Okay, that's true. I need to polish up my Dota 2 loyalty.
I feel like you wanted to like corner me into some bad logic there.
I don't know. Yeah, I was.
You were
I don't
trying.
know what I was trying to argue.
They found that swamp on the baton. It's a 2-shot. Oh, the minus armor, just brutal. They didn't even use the wave of terror. The Chen Rat is trying, but it's slow, and now it starts to become less effective against this Ember.
You've got the hero to deal with it. JO are going to be kept in place for a little bit, forced to quickly fire him out, so they will potentially get the top tier 2 tower, but the damage being done mid lane is something that has to be addressed.
He's just lucky there was no bash, unfortunately, for that troll.
Yeah, that troll almost actually killed JO there. That would have been a huge pickoff.
Well, 4F's going to take the tower. All right, they hang on. They're going to buy back on their clock. Looks like they want to fight. As your TA comes marching in, one-shots the Skywrath. Oh, Jesus, that's just brutal. Now, Chrissy, gonna work on the structures here. He's still got the Aegis, not the hero you want to be focusing. And then the Ravage and the Witch Doctor ult to follow it up. Hookshot came in. It didn't end the Death Ward. Only the Cogs managed to do that, but they bashed Chrissy under tower. Can they do it a second time? That's the question. Doesn't look like it for now. He's got the way in, and he's gonna find 4F as he retreats. Well, 4F just going full man mode here, but he's done.
His fate. He's going to have to buy back.
They're all so low. 4 heroes at like the 10-15% HP threshold, but nobody dead. And now they're chained. They have no hookshot. They have no chasing potential of any kind.
It was a decent hold, but not getting any kills off of that. Having to buy back your troll. End of the day, they didn't need to buy back the troll as well. Everyone was already low before the troll back. 4F just got in his mind. It's like, okay, we're in a lot of trouble here. I'm just going to have to go into as much damage as possible and then buy back the defend. But they played that defense so well, he didn't even need to buy back. But still, MVP.Hot6 hold on, buy themselves some more time to keep split pushing, keep getting farm on the troll to work towards his BKB. SF towards his next big item, but it's still Rave with huge items going their way. And this next Roshan is going to be Aegis and Cheese, and around the time where there's even more big fatal items coming up.
Gonna have to cog himself back to safety, then a hook in onto Illusions. Uh-oh.
Nice.
This is not what he wanted. They'll take a Maledict. They will send it back. They'll even Hand of God. And it looks like he'll make it home. But,
okay.
Well, gonna be tough to really do much for the next minutes. He's got to mosey back out onto the map.
So not quite what Rave were hoping for with that Aegis, I imagine, but they're still sitting pretty strong here. A few small things that MVP.Hot6 just did really well as far as pressuring the Ember Spirit when it was top, so that MVP.Hot6 actually got a tier 2 tower of it, and just the high ground defense in general. Chrissy got kind of baited in really deep there and didn't do as much damage as it was expecting because of the SF Requiem of Souls, which we just used defensively for the minus physical damage, and as a result, Chrissy just couldn't get the damage done to get too many kills there.
At the same time, MVP have not taken any kind of real momentum for, I mean, basically for 20 minutes now, GoDz. Like,
it's kind of crazy.
It's nice that they're heading on.
Towers. Like, they've taken every outer tower, but
yeah, I guess Rave have matched that, and then they throw kills and Roshans onto the pile, and a whole lot more creeps. Because of that, it seems they are coming out on top here. They're going to take a range Rex. They look now for the melee. SF has the BKB and the Yules. Could maybe Yules dodge a not a Shadow Fiend, a Ravage from this Tidehunter. But Jayo finds the chains. He's going to keep them at bay while his buddy, Chrissy, does all the heavy lifting. They'll bring down the Rex. It's a freebie. An uncontested mid lane.
With the Aegis. Proves they don't need the Aegis, but much better execution by Rave on the high ground push. Also, they didn't have to worry about the split push in the side lanes, but the split push in the side lanes ultimately wasn't what really prevented their push from succeeding last time.
Well, cool, calm, and collected. Rave pulling ahead in game 3. 1 lane of Rex down, 2 to go. At this point, I mean, the split push was cute and all, but are they really going to feel confident enough to threaten tier 3s? I'm not seeing it.
You've got this 8k net worth Chen who's like almost on par with like your Tide, but he doesn't even be on a pickup. I don't think he's got any. He's got no creeps at the moment. Like, you get this Ag Scepter and you get a slightly shorter cooldown on your ulti, but he needs that Granite Golem. He needs something, and he's going to find an empty Ancient camp waiting for him. So if Rave apply pressure soon while the Chen has no creep on me, this Chen offers very little in a team fight. This is the stage of the game where Rave could almost just block off these Ancients with a ward, and that would really cripple the Chen and his item purchase.
That's very true, and I believe they did see. Actually, I'm not sure if they've seen the eggs yet, but if not, they're going too soon.
Yeah, they probably haven't been clearing the Chens. Like, what item's Chen going to buy that's going to cause us problems? We just have to keep track of the Troll, his BKB timing, and the SF. If he goes Butterfly or whatever it may be. It's like SF with a Blade of Alacrity is just going to be going into a Manta, I guess.
It's just like pitiful item pickups. You compare that even to Jayo, like he starts Manta first, now suddenly Battle Fury and Crystal is complete, and he hasn't even really had to do much this game. He's 5-0-3, but he's been quiet for the past 10-15 minutes. Now he's going to flex his muscles. They move their way in, they mosey on the high ground, they're going to chains Lost, maybe force out that BKB.
Chen found an Ogre Frost Mage. There is Frost Armor from this Chen. That's all he's got. Let's celebrate. He found it and then he TP'd back and recalled his Ogre Frostmage.
While you're busy celebrating, Chrissy's busy winning. He takes melee Rex. He looks, oh boy, oh boy. Oh, that just might be GG. Ravage, Cask, Stomp, and now the Fountain Dive.
Not the Frostmage, no. GG is called. MVP.Hot6, they take a game, I gotta say. They look pretty solid overall. Obviously not quite on Rave's level, and still a bit of ways to go, but this is a new roster, and we'll be seeing Jerax joining this team in Korea soon, hopefully for the lower bracket matches, because that is where MVP.Hot6 is going to find themselves.
Well, fingers crossed for this team that they can get Jerax there in time to start making a run, but for Rave, I think they look at this series and say, we lost game 2, but it just came down to a really awful start more than anything, and still showing when it comes down to those clutch moments, they deliver. Good team decision-making, a variety of strategies they can pull out of their back pocket. Still, I mean, maybe not the overwhelming favorites, but still looking like they should be the favorites moving forward in this qualifier.
Okay. Well,
it's in the bag now, GoDz. Rave move on. They'll be in the winner bracket semifinals. MVP dropping down to the loser bracket round 1. Guys, don't go anywhere, though, because we've got another best of 3 coming up here for y'all in SEA. Next, it will be Mineski taking on Invasion Esports in a best of 3. That match scheduled to begin soon, I believe. Is it 10 minutes?
It's scheduled to begin in
40 minutes. 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's something.
So you have a little break, guys. It'll be 30 minutes after the hour. Then we will return for Invasion versus Mineski. Thank you for watching the Summit 3. I'm LD. He's GoDz. We'll be back.